Hello, and welcome back to Ziggy1 Plays, where today we're going to be discussing how to shiny hunt Pokemon in Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. Alright, let's get right into it. Alright, so in this video we're going to start off with a little bit of like what shiny hunting is and how exactly you can do it, how it's been done over the years, and then we're going to get into the specifics of shiny hunting sandwiches and exactly what kind of odds they provide, and then some examples of how to shiny hunt in this game, Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. With DLC dropping today, I will be uploading addendums to this video covering any new shiny hunting methods, if there are any, and so be looking forward to that as well. But thank you so much for checking out this video, and without further ado, please like and subscribe. It always helps out my small channel. Other than that, let's get right into it with what exactly is shiny hunting. Now, because I received some comments about this, I'm going to share with you guys a few of my shiny Pokemon that I have myself, and exactly how exactly to accomplish obtaining shiny Pokemon. And so, what shiny Pokemon are is they're a slight color variation of a Pokemon, and you have about naturally, I think, a 1 in 4,096 chance to get a shiny Pokemon in the current generation of games, and so that is a pretty low number as far as chances go, 1 in 4,000. So most people don't even know that shiny Pokemon exist because you don't normally come across them in traditional gameplay. Now in Scarlet and Violet it's a little bit easier because you're able to see so many more Pokemon on your overworld, but still those chances are very low. And so as you can see on screen now, the normal brown coloration is what Eevee wears. Well, shiny Eevee is white, right? And so that's a shiny Pokemon right there. Now, traditionally, over the years, there's been kind of a couple of ways that have remained true that you've been able to do pretty much in every video game going back to, let's say, Pokemon Diamond and Pearl. And those two methods are, number one, soft resetting. And the way to soft reset is to save in front of a Pokemon that you want to encounter, like a legendary or something, encounter it, and then turn off your game and turn it back on. And whenever you turn it back on, you encounter it again, and you just keep doing so until you get a shiny. Obviously, that method takes a long time to find a shiny Pokemon, and it's not really applicable in Scarlet and Violet, and I'll share why that is here in just a minute. There's a shiny Golduck, by the way. The other method that's been tried and true over the years is available in Scarlet and Violet, and it is still very good, and that method is called the Masuda method. Now, Masuda method involves breeding, which I'm going to go over in just a few minutes, and so stay tuned for that. We will go over the Masuda method in this video, but it involves breeding your Pokemon in order to have a higher chance to get a shiny Pokemon in an egg. And because you'll be walking a lot and hatching eggs, this method too does take a little while in order to get it done. But you do end up with a shiny Pokemon if you're faithful at it, all right? And so, yeah, those are kind of the two that have been very useful over the years. Now, along with those two, there's usually an additional 1 or 2 shiny hunting methods in every game. And so in this game, Scarlet and Violet, there's a couple of really good ones. One is the shiny sandwiches, which I'm going to get into in a few minutes. And the other is mass outbreaks, which probably is the fastest shiny hunting method in the game. All right, and so through the rest of this video, we're going to talk about shiny sandwiches, we're going to talk about mass outbreaks, and we're going to talk about the Masuda method, and why soft resetting is not really a thing in Scarlet and Violet, okay? So let's jump into it together. Speaking of soft resetting, here we have a Mewtwo that I was able to find in the wild by soft resetting, and I believe it was in Pokemon Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon. I just kept resetting and resetting and resetting until I found him as a shiny, and I'm really happy that I did, even though it took me like over 1,000 tries, because he looks really cool, and I know that I'm the one that did that. I took the time to make it happen, and here I have my green Mewtwo named Norman Bates, and so there you have it. Now in Scarlet and Violet, that's a little bit of an issue, and I'm going to share a screenshot with you here. There are a bunch of Pokemon that are shiny locked, and these include the legendaries in the game. They include the original starters in the game. They include all of the Titan Pokemon. So pretty much all of the Pokemon in the base game that you can soft reset in front of are shiny locked. And therefore, you have no reason to attempt to shiny hunt those Pokemon because you can't even get them shiny in the first place. They are coded to never be shiny. So do not waste your time soft resetting. All right, quick message while we're talking about shiny locked Pokemon. I wanted to come on here and say I'm playing the DLC, and it's been made evident that all of the legendary Pokemon in this DLC are shiny locked. That means, oh gosh, I'm going to mess up their names. Okidogi and the monkey one, Monkey Dory, and the Pheasantipity. Okay, I got them right. Those 3 Pokemon are all shiny locked, as well as Ogerpon. All of them are shiny locked, as well as the eggs that Jacques can give you. And so if you find yourself with a Sinnoh starter, no need to reset for that egg. Those are shiny locked as well. And so, sorry to break the news, but I wanted to include that here. And going into the Teal Mask, don't worry about resetting for those Pokemon. They're all shiny locked. Now, another way of soft resetting that people have done has been to encounter random Pokemon, like have a bunch pop up on your screen, and if none of them are shiny, then reset your game, and then let them all pop up again. That is problematic in Scarlet and Violet as well, because when you save your game, let's say in the wild, I decided to move on out into the wild so that you could see exactly what I'm talking about. Whenever you save your game out in the wild, like if I were to put down a save right here, right now, like this, okay? And then I look around and I see there are no shiny Pokemon. There's an Igglybuff, there's a Hoppip, in the distance is a Wooper and an Azurill. Yeah, there's no shinies, right? And so now if I were to reset my game, like hit the home button, turn it off, hop back into the game and reset it, all of these Pokemon would be the exact same. In Scarlet and Violet, when you save your game, it saves which Pokemon are present in the world at the time. And so even soft resetting Pokemon in the wild like this is not going to be an acceptable way of getting new spawns in order to try to get shiny Pokemon. And so for that, the kind of equivalent to resetting spawns in the world in Scarlet and Violet is the picnic mechanic. And it works like this. See, there's a Wooper in front of me. I'm going to select picnic. And when I do, you see that all those Pokemon disappear. This, unlike turning off your game, is a true despawn. They are gone, they've disappeared, and now I will exit my picnic, and when I do, new Pokemon will begin spawning in. So here in this area right in front of me, let's see what comes on the screen next. Okay, there's a Fidough over there, as well as another Igglybuff, another Fidough, Igglybuff. There's some birds up in the grass up there. And that Wooper, you can see, did not spawn back in because, again, these are all brand new spawns and brand new chances to be shiny. Now, this picnic resetting mechanic is going to become especially important in the mass outbreaks and in the shiny sandwich hunting, which we will get to in just a moment. Now, before we get into all of this, I do want to make mention, I don't think it needs to be said, but I thought I would say it anyway. A good item to have if you're going to be doing any number of shiny hunts would be the shiny charm. You can see it right here in my inventory. You can't use it or anything, but if you have it in your inventory, it increases the chance of you finding a shiny Pokemon. And it usually does it by like adding 3 rolls to the shiny chance, which means instead of 1 in 4,000, it'd be like 1 in 1,300 or 1 in 2,000. I'm not exactly sure of the numbers, but it cuts down the numbers quite a bit. Okay, and so any shiny hunting that you're going to be doing, the shiny charm is a handy thing to have. All right, how do you get the shiny charm? Well, it's very simple. You fill your Pokedex, which I'm going to pull up for you here. You can see I have caught 400 and battled 400. Battled used to say seen, but basically you can't just have seen all the Pokemon. You actually have to have caught them, which means either you evolve them or you trade for them. And you can usually find somebody to help you out with this if you get on a Pokemon Discord server or a Pokemon Reddit, especially like a Pokemon trading Reddit. You can find people that will trade with you and help you complete your Pokedex so that you can get the shiny charm. Whenever that number hits 400 and you've caught 400 Pokemon, and you've completed the game, you'll be invited to come see Professor Jacques at the college or at the school. And whenever you get to the school, he will give you the shiny charm. Having the shiny charm is kind of a prerequisite for all these methods. You don't have to have it, but it will make them all much, much faster. So go get the shiny charm. Let's get into the 3 methods that are working and are incredible. The Masuda method and shiny sandwiches and mass outbreaks. First off, let's talk about the Masuda method. The Masuda method is a way of breeding Pokemon and having a higher chance of having shiny eggs. All right, and so these eggs do not appear different in any way. You must hatch them first, and then once you hatch them, you will have some eggs, and they have a higher chance of being shiny on the inside. But you'll have to wait and see. So the first thing you want to do is have 2 Pokemon that can breed that are of different languages. This is the Masuda method in general. So if you have 2 Pokemon that can breed that are in different languages, they automatically have a higher chance of producing a shiny Pokemon as offspring. Okay? Let me give you an example in my boxes. And we will be wanting to put these Pokemon in our party as well, so I'll go ahead and make some room here. So just a heads up, the name of the Pokemon doesn't always show if it's from another language. You have to look on the line where it says Ditto there, number 212 Ditto. Over to the right, if there's a 3-letter country code, then that means it is of a different language than yours. And so this one is from Japan. A Ditto, of course, if you didn't know this, can breed with pretty much any Pokemon that can be bred. And so a foreign language Ditto is probably one of the best ways you can go about getting yourself some shiny Pokemon. All right? And so here we have Sprigatito. And I don't have any shiny Sprigatitos yet, nor do I have any shiny Quackavals. But this Quackaval has very, very good IVs. IVs are stats, which I'm not going to get into, but a breeding guide could tell you more about this. But basically, I have a good-looking Quackaval here, and what I want to do is breed him with Ditto in order to potentially create some shiny eggs, all right? And so what I'm going to do is start with just the Ditto and the Quaxley in my party. This is new to Generation 9, but if you have multiple Pokemon that can breed in your party, then Ditto will just make eggs with all of them. So if you're hunting for one specific Pokemon, then you're going to want to only have that Pokemon in your party. And so Quaxley and Ditto will be in my party. And then what I'm going to do is back out, and the first thing you want to do is save the game. If you save the game and then do your shiny hunting and you don't get a shiny, then you can just reset, because those eggs are only triggered as shiny when they are spawned in. And so this will keep you from having to release all those Pokemon upon the end of your shiny hunt, okay? So save the game, and then what I would do is go to your boxes and make sure you select a box that is open and doesn't have any Pokemon in it, because those eggs are going to go directly to your box and they're going to begin filling up boxes. So you're going to want to have an open box, okay? Now that you're in an open box and you've saved your game, you need to fly to Medali, or as I call it, Breeding Town. This is where I do pretty much all of my shiny hunting, and that's because this restaurant right here sells a meal that we will need. So go inside and purchase the Egg Power 2, that's that one, Compote de Fils, or I don't even know how you say that. But yes, Egg Power 2 is what we're looking for. You could also make a sandwich that does this. And if you're in the mood for spending Herba Mystica, you could spend an Herba Mystica to get an Egg Power level 3 sandwich, but I usually don't do that. I just buy this one, Egg Power level 2. After purchasing it with cash or whatever, your people will eat it, and then you will have Egg Power 2. Now, once Egg Power is activated, if you set up a picnic with your Pokemon that can breed, there will automatically be eggs starting to be made. And this is where it kind of gets a little bit slower than the other methods. You basically have to sit at the picnic until you get as many eggs as possible. This sandwich will last for 30 minutes. And so basically for the next 30 minutes, I'm going to sit here and let my game just collect eggs. All right? And at the end, I should have quite a number. So go right outside of Medali here, press your X button, and click Picnic. And then you're just going to sit on this screen collecting eggs as they pile up. Now, here's how it works. This basket right here is where the eggs will come to whenever they've created an egg. However, that basket can only hold 10 at a time. So you need to make sure you're clearing it out every few minutes. What I usually do is set a timer for 3 minutes, and every 3 minutes I come and I clear out my eggs. And then I'll set another timer for 3 minutes, and I'll clear out the basket until I have eggs. And then whenever my 30-minute timer is over, or when I've done this 10 times 3 minutes, 30 minutes, then I will back out of the picnic, and I will begin to hatch the eggs. And so what I'm going to do is show you a couple of runs of me collecting eggs. Then we'll skip to the part where I hatch them, and I'll show you, hopefully, I'll get a shiny Quaxley. All right, it's been about 2 or 3 minutes, and so I'm going to check the basket. and there's a Pokemon egg. This is the message that you will get if there are eggs in there. And all you're going to do is spam A to pick up the eggs really quickly. Okay, so click yes. Oh, there's another egg. Yes. Oh, there's another egg. Yes. All right, so there's 4, 5. Okay, so in about 2 or 3 minutes, I got 5 eggs. And I'm just going to continue to repeat this process until the 30-minute timer's up, and then we will be good to start hatching them. Now that you have all the eggs that you could possibly get from one sandwich, we're going to open up our boxes. And when we open the boxes, you'll see all of your eggs are there. I ended up with 30, 60, and then was that 9? 69 eggs. Perfect. I bet one of them's shiny. All right, in order to hatch eggs as fast as possible, it's good to have a Pokemon in your party with the ability Flame Body or Magma Armor, although Flame Body is the one I usually come across. And then pack the rest of your party full of 5 eggs, and then you just run steps as fast as you can in order to hatch these eggs. And so box 5, box 6, I'm going to work my way through, and I will, of course, snap a little clip if I find a shiny for you guys. Also, I'll mention right here, you can go back to that little restaurant and buy another egg power meal if you would like to. I did. If you do that, egg power actually helps you hatch eggs faster as well as it helps to get eggs faster. And so, yeah, egg power will help hatch eggs a little quicker as well. All right, so I did about literally a few hundred eggs for a long time last night, and never came across a shiny of the Quaxley. So then I started doing Quaxley and Sprigatito, and finally I got a Sprigatito egg that was shiny. And so I'm just going to play back when it hatched for you here so that you can see exactly what it'll look like when you use the Masuda method and successfully get a shiny. All right, so once again, just to note, this did take a few hundred eggs, and it normally, can go upwards of 500 eggs. I think your odds with the shiny charm are 1 in 500, and with eggs, that's just a lot longer of encounters, but it is worth it because I think this might be the best way that a shiny can appear, so I'll show you here. Check this out. I just love it because it gives you a second to like take in the fact that it's different, and then the sparkles come out. And so, yep, that is the Masuda method for you. All right, now that we're done talking about Masuda method, let's get into the shiny sandwich. And in order to not lose that Herba Mystica, make sure you save before you make your sandwich. What you're going to do anytime you go to make a shiny sandwich is open up a picnic, click cook, like attach or approach the plate on the table, and then click make a sandwich. And then you're going to click X to go to your creative mode. And now I'm going to put on a couple of overlays on the screen. This first one is called Papa Jefe's Simple and Efficient Shiny Sandwiches, and this is one that I've used since the game basically released. And I want to remind you again of that chart, and it's linked in the description below. Please go and use those charts and follow the recipes, and you should have no problem. But in the case that you do, as I just did, then please keep your saves so that you can go back and redo. It'll also help to turn autosave off, which I think most of us play with it off, but I thought I would just make that one more time. So let's try this again. 2 green, 1 yellow, 1 red, 1 onion, and the final ingredient was prosciutto. There we are, and a much prettier sandwich, if I do say so myself. All right, there we go. And now let's cut ahead to the powers. And there you have it, sparkling, tidal, and encounter power. That is what we were going for, okay? So really quickly, what I'm going to show you now is the effects of the sparkling, tidal, and encounter power, but I'm not actually going to finish up this shiny hunt all the way to the end. So here's what that does is it makes it wherever it is possible, only poison Pokemon will spawn. And so in the grass here, we have an Azurill and a Psyduck, and that's because in these spawn areas, no poison Pokemon can spawn, period. But if you look around the lake down here, you're going to see a lot of Wooper. And none of them are spawning right now. But the only poison Pokemon that can spawn in this lake is Wooper. And so that's why I did poison. Now there's one right there. There's a couple more. This isn't a great example, but let's go right over this hill, and you'll see another lake where we're going to get a lot more Wooper. But when I get to the lake, in the lake and around it on the shores, pretty much you're going to only see Wooper. There's a Wooper. Now, those Flamigo are fixed spawns. That's why they're there. But other than that, only Wooper should be spawning. There's a lot of Wooper in there, a handful over here. And the shiny form of Wooper is blue. And so I'm just going to circle around a couple times, see if I see one. But this is how you hunt. And all of these Wooper that are spawning in now have a higher chance to be shiny. Now, you can see what I've been doing is just running around and despawning these Wooper. But another way to do it would be once I see that no shinies have spawned, I could hop off my mount, throw down a picnic, and reset all of the spawns. So you can see exactly the effects that this sandwich is having and how broken this can possibly be. You know, I'm getting mostly Wooper spawns, and I'm able to travel around and just kind of see them spawn in and hope that they're shiny because they have a much higher shiny rate, okay? And so with all of that being said, let's get into an actual example shiny hunt, and I'm going to show you step-by-step how I found a shiny. All right, next up we're going to do electric encounter power, and this is for Sandy Shocks. And the key ingredient here is yellow bell pepper, so select one of those. And then just like we've done in the past couple of recipes, we're going to select a salty herb as well as a spicy. There's our sparkling and encounter power for electric types. So now we'll back out, leave the picnic, and jump off the cliff just as we did before. Now for Sandy Shocks, we're going to be going to one specific location. There are multiple locations where Sandy Shocks can spawn, and those are limited to any of these areas that have a rocky terrain, like pattern on the ground. There's a few more than the couple that I'm going to show you here, but this is where I choose to go to. You can see it very clearly as you first jump off the cliff here. Now this area right here does spawn Sandy Shocks, but it's slightly smaller and it's a little bit more difficult to maneuver around. And so what we're going to do is actually slide down the hill here and go to the bottom area. Now this is the spot right here where I like to be while they're spawning. Okay, you can see they spawn all around you kind of in a semicircle here. Make sure as you leave the spawn zone, you check this cliff right there. The last Sandy Shocks I found was actually on that cliff right up there. Now, to despawn them, we run to this boulder right here. Take a look back, make sure they're all gone. And then we run back to the place where I said that I like to stand to spawn them in. And I wait here while they spawn. And here's what a shiny Sandy Shocks looks like. That is, of course, my shiny Sandy Shocks. Boy, that's kind of hard to say. All right, shiny Sandy Shocks right there on screen for you. Obviously, I didn't just find it. All right, so we've talked about the Masuda method, and we've talked about sandwich hunting and kind of resetting using isolation method for you to find the exact Pokemon you're looking for. Well, now the third and final method for this video that we're going to talk about, and that is mass outbreak. And I have said it before, I think this might be the fastest of the three, just because your odds can go even higher. And you'll see at the end of this method, we can even use a shiny sandwich to make the odds go through the roof. And so I'll show you that here in a few minutes. But the way that mass outbreaks work is if you zoom out as far as you can on your map without going to the huge overworld map, then you'll be able to see a few Pokemon. Like here's a Noctowl that has like a little red emanating border around him. And then there's one here that I haven't discovered. This of course is in the DLC, but it works the same way in the main game. And so what you want to do is you want to go to where this Pokemon is, and basically through knocking out or catching a bunch of that Pokemon, you're going to raise your shiny chances a lot. All right, so I'm going to make my way toward this one, and as I do, I'm going to tell you the way it works is, I believe if you knock out 30 Pokemon, your chances go up a lot. And if you knock out 60, your chances go up tremendously. And then if you're using the shiny charm, of course, they go up a little higher. And, of course, if you are using a shiny sandwich, they go up even higher. We are almost over here to this mass outbreak, and I believe it's an outbreak of Hoot Hoot. All right, and so when I get there, I'm going to use my Let's Go feature to knock out 60 of them. And it can help if you want to keep a counter or if you want to just count in your head, but you need to make sure that you knock out 60 and don't do too many more, because after about 90 or 100, the mass outbreak will disappear. And so you may be thinking, okay, well, how am I going to get a for sure shiny if there's only 60 of or 90 of 100, you know, if there's only a certain number? Well, the reason is after you knock out 60, you can actually use like a picnic reset or resetting the spawns to continuously spawn those last Hoot Hoots in order to go for that shiny. And so I'm going to show you now, and I'm going to speed it up a little bit. You'll see the beginning and the end of it, but basically I'm going to knock out 60 of them. I'm going to keep a little counter here on my phone to make sure I don't lose track. All right, you can see I just put my Norman Bates Mewtwo into Let's Go mode. I'm just going to let him go knock out as many Hoot Hoots as possible. Keeping track, that's 2. This is 3. And it is a little bit of a slow process, but it's not near as slow of a process as like EV training where you have to go into battle every time, because you can use the Let's Go feature. All right, that's number 59, and that's number 60. So there we are at 60 encounters, and usually I'll do a couple extra just to make sure I didn't miscount, but I do have my counter app here that says that I got 60, and so hopefully I'm right on the money. Okay, once you have 60 encounters, then you can start resetting the spawns. And because basically now your chances are maxed out. Well, you know, if you add a sandwich, then they're maxed out. But basically, once you get to 60 encounters, you can't really go any higher in the encounters to get better chances of getting a shiny. And so what you're going to want to do now is just begin to reset the encounters or reset the spawns. There's a couple ways to do that. One is to run away and come back like so. So I have a lot of them kind of right here on this little end area of the little cliff area. So I'm going to run away. And then once I kind of get out here in this area, I'll come back, and a lot of those have despawned. And now you'll see new Hoot Hoot spawning in as I come back. And all of these are brand new spawns. These are not the same ones. And so these all now have the higher shiny chance as they spawn in. You want to make sure, well, this is up to you. I mean, I guess I like to at least have a general idea of what the shiny looks like, because otherwise there are some that are just so close you're going to have a hard time picking it out, you know. So like I said, you can run away and come back and find new spawns that way. Another way to do it is to hop off your ride, plop down a picnic, and as soon as you get it opening, spam Y. Spam Y until you get the message to exit the picnic. And then press A and exit the picnic, and now these are brand new spawns as well. A picnic resets the spawns in the area just like running away does. So once I reset the spawns, now I can just rotate my camera around and check out what all is spawning in. And I'm getting a lot of Hoot Hoot, but no shinies as of yet. All right, so this one I did the simplest method using a salty, and so this is a 1 prosciutto, salty Herba Mystica, and a sweet Herba Mystica. And this should give me my flying type, sparkling, and encounter power. Let's check it out. Sparkling, title, and encounter power for flying. There we go. So this is not going to necessarily fully isolate the Hoot Hoot spawns. You may still get other flying Pokemon, but you already have a ton of Hoot Hoots from your mass outbreak, and so this is just going to further up your shiny chances, all right? But do be on the lookout for other shiny Pokemon that are flying type as well, all right? Also, I've noticed that Mightyena keeps spawning, and even though I have this flying type thing active, he spawned in, which makes me think he's a fixed spawn. So I may go and try to knock him out really quick so that way he doesn't keep annoying me like this. So. I think I see a shiny Bombardier. It's unfortunate that I find one of those and not... Yep, there it is. And not a Hoot Hoot yet. But this is a good example of a shiny sandwich that I made, and the shiny sandwich directly leading to finding a shiny Pokemon of that same type. And so Yo, I think that's it. There's the yellow one. Oh my gosh. Okay, I was starting to wonder if I was like missing it or something. That's it. In that hunt for Hoot Hoot, I actually had to go through a couple of sandwiches, and the second sandwich, I found the Hoot Hoot at about 20 minutes, and I recorded that. You saw that, but then of course I stopped recording because I thought I'll just waste the rest of the sandwich. And I didn't really do any isolated encounters. I just went running around the area where Cramorant could spawn because I really would like to have a shiny Cramorant. And wouldn't you know, I found one off camera, and so I thought I'd show you guys this too. If you use a shiny sandwich for a mass outbreak or anything, and you have time left over, always go run around with that time and just see what you can find. Or if you have another Pokemon of the same type in mind, go hunt for them. But here we go. Check this out. I was walking along the cliff, and you're going to see when I come to the cliff edge up here, I pause for like 5 ever just looking at this Pokemon. I'm like, what is orange? Is it right there? What is orange in this part of the... And then it dawns on me, that's my shiny Cramorant. And so I run over there, and it actually was kind of hard to catch, but I did catch it, and now I have a shiny Cramorant, which I'm probably going to be playing with in my playthrough here. All right, here at the end of the video, I thought I would give you guys just a quick breakdown and greeting, say thanks for watching, and appreciate you guys being around. And now I'm going to show you maybe my top 3 or 4 shinies from this video game that I've found so far. This is including the base game and the DLC. These shinies are just great, and they're ones that I really, really enjoyed hunting, as well as the moment I found them was special. And so let's get into it. Call it recent memory or whatever, but this thing has got to be probably in my top 5. It was just such a cool encounter that I had with it just a few minutes ago. But also the orange shiny is super cool. I never got a chance to shiny hunt this one in Sword and Shield. Also, shiny hunting in Sword and Shield was just busted and so bad. So yeah, finding a shiny Cramorant was a highlight of the DLC so far. So Bellibolt was my favorite Pokemon going into the game, and it remained one of my favorite designs throughout the entire game. So when I finally got to the point of the game, like 3 gym badges in, that I was able to shiny hunt it, it took me like, I don't know, probably 4 hours, because I didn't have a shiny charm, I didn't have the shiny sandwiches, but I finally got a Tadbulb to spawn in shiny, and man, this shiny carried me through a lot of the game. I played with it a lot. So fun to use, and the neon color, just so eye-catching. Now, I will say I like the coloration better on the regular form, but it's still really cool to have a shiny Bellibolt. Finding my friend Nusi was really, really cool as well. This was, I believe, my first shiny in the game. I had been kind of loosely hunting for a long time, seeing people post videos of finding shinies, and I was getting pretty angry. And then finally, I come across this stark, pink-looking pig, and it was so exciting. And raising the thing, it actually gets pretty strong for an early normal type, and so really enjoyed it. My second favorite shiny in the Scarlet and Violet game so far is my shiny Screamtail, which is so, so cute. I love the red eyes, the deep purple tail. Also, I named it after my daughter, who has pretty big eyes as well, and so I'm very proud of this one, and it holds a special place in my heart. Also, Screamtail turned out to be really, really good in a lot of the raid battles that came out, and so I used Screamtail quite a bit, as well as looking really good. My absolute favorite shiny Pokemon in Scarlet and Violet so far has got to be my shiny Skeledirge. This one actually hunted all the way out through eggs, kind of like that Sprigatito, and man, I probably hunted 400 to 600 eggs for this thing. It took forever, but then finally it popped, and I was so beside myself to be able to have a shiny Fuecoco. The only sad thing was it came later in the game, so I wasn't able to play through with it, but I did use it, and I've used it on so many raids. It's so good, and it's a pretty sharp-looking Pokemon. An honorable mention goes to my boy Rabska, or I guess my girl Rabska in this case. But shiny Rabska looks amazing. That gold with the bright pink ball, it's a great looking Pokemon. The original looks good too. I really love the design. Well, that's it. Thank you so much for watching my video. I hope that this was helpful to you to learn how to shiny hunt in Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. Maybe you already knew, and this is just a refresher. But let's all get into the DLC and shiny hunt all these new Pokemon. It's going to be so much fun, and I can't wait to get into it with you guys. If you use this method and you catch a shiny, please tell me down below what you were hunting and how long it took you. And, of course, I'll be responding as best I can. Thank you so much, and we'll see you in the next video. Peace out.